2, 1, go to us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Two Beers Deep. Greg, what was that sword?
The sword that is also pen.
What is the sword from?
It was from like a month ago when I went to that my friends were having like the National Hobbit Day,
Yeah.
that like it was like their birthday, so like I came over just for a little bit and stuff, and this was in like the gift bag because I guess, and I didn't know this, that like hobbits give gifts on their birthdays instead of get gifts, which
Not
is
gonna get
something.
that.
Yeah, I don't understand the full logic. Then again, I know nothing about Lord of the Rings. I know nothing about Hobbit. I know nothing about all that. So I was very thrown off by it, but I appreciate it. And this is actually what I use when I'm working. And if I'm on camera, I occasionally have a sword out that like I just tap on my neck when I'm on my chin when I'm trying to think about something. And it might confuse people, but who am I
Here,
to not add some levity to my work life?
here are things you don't know about hobbits' birthdays.
Hmm.
Rabidian. The word hobbits use for birthday is Ribidian, which is similar to Anglo-Saxon word for Byronin, which is Byron means birth. Hobbits consider coming of age their 33rd birthday. September 22nd is Bilbo's birthday.
Wow. Okay.
So Bilbo's birthday is Hobbit's Day.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's what it is.
They
And I
give.
just turned 33, so apparently I officially have come of age. Go figure.
You're so old.
I am.
Yeah, Ribidian. Huh, that's
Hmm.
cool. Is it
Yeah.
sharp?
Uh, has its moments, but for the most part, like a nice little poke from time to time. Just to remember that, just to remember you're alive.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Um,
Nothing wrong with being poked by a sword from time to time. Just saying.
Agreed, agreed. Let's start the show off the same way we have for the last 7 years, but mine is gonna be different. All right, 3, 2, 1, action. I am sick as shit, but
Oh,
we got to talk through because Greg, next week,
yeah.
Tiffany and Chad surprised us with Predators tickets. Next
Damn,
week
look
is
at
the
you.
next week is the day after Christmas, and the next week I'll still be in Pittsburgh.
Well, no, yeah. So next week you'll be at the Preds game. The following week will be the day after Christmas, and then the following week you'll be in Pittsburgh still. So yeah, we won't be doing this until January
Ninth.
9th.
Thank you for
Damn.
saying the same thing that I said, but just
Yeah, I just wanted to spell it
at a
out. So
different
like
time.
January 9th. Look,
Um,
damn.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a way in which.
I'm gonna see you
Mm,
for during that time frame. So at least I'm cool with it. Just
oh
saying. But
yeah, and I think we're fine. I think we'll start the new year off, and I'll get us rebranded shit for Two Beers Deep, which is good. But we're just gonna do an hour tonight. First half hour, just talk some sports. Obviously, I got some questions coming your way, and then we'll do a
which I,
mock draft.
for the record, I wanted to bring this up. I've never had Pedialyte in my life.
Why?
I don't know, just never something that I had growing up, I guess.
Me either.
I'm okay, so I never had Pedialyte. I didn't know it was a thing until I didn't realize Pedialyte was such a big deal until the one year I went to Sad Summerfest and Mike Zur
Yep.
apparently somehow got a Pedialyte sponsorship and was wearing Pedialyte
Oh yeah.
like a Pedialyte Hawaiian shirt and actually had like stuff in his pocket that he was like giving people out as like a Pedialyte endorser, which is fucking
I have a
hilarious.
friend at
So
work. Yeah, they're pretty liberal about who they give their things out to, and so they were trying to get into the college crowd, and so she is like a Pedialyte influencer or whatever. But she gets sent like a box of Pedialyte every year, and I mean it just. I didn't start doing it until I started drinking, but now every once in a while I'll just pick one up and chug it because this is Pedialyte Advanced Care, and so it
okay.
replaces electrolytes, replenishes zinc, but this one, unlike Pedialyte, this has prebiotics, and then
Okay.
unlike Pedialyte Advanced Care, since this is plus, it has 33% more electrolytes.
I like that. So normal Pedialyte, Advance, and then Pedialyte Advance
And
Plus.
yeah, and
Can't
they changed the
I can't
wrapper to say
imagine.
great for kids and adults. So
That's
there was an
awesome.
there was like a commercial back in the day, and I forget exactly what the product was, but it was for like an adult Pedialyte, and it
Yeah, yeah.
basically was a dad like super hungover and his daughter's sitting there and he reaches in the fridge and grabs the Pedialyte and starts chugging it and it says like
Mhm.
for adults too. But that's why
Mhm.
Gatorade started making Gatorlight, which is their version of Pedialyte. And now there's other brands coming out that are making
Right.
like Pedialyte for adults so that you don't have to go to the kids section to get
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, like, is Liquid IV technically like a more like
Yeah, it's the powder form of it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like it is technically a version of Pedialyte, except you're just not buying the jug beforehand. Like the liquid IV is just something you can take anywhere and just like put in whatever
Yep.
essentially.
Yep. What
Okay,
are you drinking?
got you, got you. Uh, just crushing through the mountain of icy
Nice.
light that I have in my fridge that I'll probably need you to assist me in sometime during holiday break. So we'll get to that.
Well, as of right now, I'm never drinking again, but I'll be fine by tomorrow.
Really? So what?
Oh,
Wait, what was
whenever
the
you have a cold, you just don't feel like
Oh,
drinking.
that okay. I thought it was you had like another instance that like caused you to never drink again because that's
No.
usually reserved for when you're out and about or when I visit.
No, I mean I haven't had a level of that drinking again in a long time, which is good. But no, now
Mm,
it's just I'm sick. All right, so we got 20 some minutes of sports talk. We'll do a mock draft just because some things moved, and I want to start off in your territory, Greg.
all right.
The largest contract in sports history goes to a guy who has everything to be good, but I
Mhm.
consistently don't understand if he's actually good or not. In Juan
He is
Soto.
the finest example of potential.
Yeah, but I feel okay. So let's start there because that's the
Yeah.
last one you mentioned that last time, and that might have been whatever. But
Mhm.
I think the last time we really talked about him was when the Padres deal, and you
Yeah,
listed that same example. Now the kid's what 26,
something like that. Yeah,
so
he's young, like 20, 25, 26, and he's extremely young. And
yeah,
full credit, he got to a World Series this year. Didn't win it, but like he was on a team that needed him to help get there.
for sure. And
So,
I'm not in any way, shape, or form calling him any version of bad or but he's 26 years
oh
old.
no, no,
He's one
no,
of the
yeah,
best baseball players in the game. But if you look
yeah,
at his time at the Nationals, potential.
mm,
His time at the Padres, potential. His time in the
mhm,
Yankees, supposed to be something, and he was. He helped them. And now
was
he gets a 15-year deal based again off of his potential. I
yeah.
am not going to sit here and pretend that I know how good Juan Soto is based off of every baseball player in America, and I'm not going to tell you anything about baseball. But to me, eventually, your contracts can't be based off potential, right?
Eventually, but you could say that about any contract technically. Most contracts are based off of what you have done and
A
also
100% what you have
and
done.
what we expect you to do. Like
Give
there's
me
a
a
lot
give
of
me another contract based on what you expect someone to do.
I mean, I could easily throw in the Kirk Cousins contract. Easily.
for
The market.
for Atlanta,
Yeah,
but he
the
already
market
did stuff. He did stuff. He
did
already had he had all pro seasons,
but
multiple.
okay, but if we're almost like being considered that high of a guaranteed contract, you're looking at you would think that that would be reserved essentially for someone that is the best at what they do. Like, and that's kind of why the whole idea of like the market dictating what you get is fair, but it's also kind of like when you realize that Kirk Cousins is probably the top 5 highest paid quarterback in the
I'm
NFL,
looking that up right now just to see.
you're kind of like, huh?
But
Wait, it's
it's
a
it's
little
it's the issue I have with what you're saying is there's also something out there, and this could benefit Juan Soto's case, called he was the guy in free agency.
he
Now,
was. He absolutely was.
if we're looking at average, I don't know what this is rated by. Probably average per year. Where do you
Yeah,
believe
that'd probably be it.
where do you believe he falls in average per year?
Per year. Oh man, I just saw this like a while ago. I know Burrow's up there. I know
Yeah.
Dak's up there. I don't think Jalen's up there. I would say Kirk has to be top 7 at least.
He's 12.
Really?
The guys that are ahead of him
More.
on average year. So Dak Prescott has the highest average year with 60. Burrow
Okay.
and Love and Trevor Lawrence are tied at 55. Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff are tied at 53. Herbert 52, Lamar 52, Jalen 51, Kyler 46. So he's tied with Deshaun Watson with 46, and then Kirk. Right after
Okay.
Kirk is Mahomes, and then Allen, Stafford, Rogers, Carr, and so on.
But you see, like the disparity there is just something that's like mind-boggling to me. How many of those guys in front of him are? You could argue some of it are based off of like results, but also based off of like what we expect to get from them.
I would say
You know?
Dak and Burrow are results. Dak's
Okay.
had a great career. Burrow's been to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Love is 100% perspective because they waited 4 years to play him, which is great.
Love got hot, and he got hot at the right time when he needed
100%.
to.
So I would
So,
say Jordan Love's contract is very aligned with Soto's conversation
okay.
piece. Trevor
Okay.
Lawrence was a stupid contract. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
know if we can call that
But
potential.
it's potential, and it's also the fact that they're desperate for a franchise quarterback. So I would throw that in there as well.
That's the other thing too is we are looking at a position in baseball. Which would you say that any position in baseball, maybe pitcher, is even relatively close to quarterback? Because Juan Soto, the other thing is like
Ooh,
his position doesn't warrant this. These types of uh, dollar amounts we're talking about are warranted. Like for example, Trey Lance and Zach Wilson are on this list,
right.
and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything close because even for a pitcher probably would make the most potentially, but even with a pitcher, the thing that's crazy is like you're only playing once every 5 days. So like how much you impact a fifth of the season. You're not impacting the entire length of a season. That's probably why position players are gonna arguably make more. Now, positions necessarily don't matter in that regard. It's your numbers are going to be based off of your offense entirely.
Yeah.
It's what you produce at the plate. So I would say there's not really a firm position that would be the equivalent of quarterback. It's simply to me, it's just hitter. Like
Yeah.
in terms of pitching with that regard, there's never going to be a pitcher that would touch that much money, 800, like close to 800
Yeah.
million. I don't see it. Like Shohei's obviously like a wild card because he's both, but like there will never. I don't think there will ever be a pitcher that can touch that much. I think the most that I've seen was I think Garrett Cole was like 300 million from
Yeah.
the Yankees, and I can't see any pitcher coming close to that. Even if Skeens gets on the open market, like he would not come close to
Yeah.
700.
Which I think
No
you look
way.
at the arm, you look at the injuries, you look at all that stuff.
Right.
So
Exactly.
does Juan Soto now 10 years is different than 15 years? And I'm going to ask this question lightly because I don't believe that the word deserve is the correct word here. Does he deserve more money than Shohei Ohtani?
Oh no, no.
Now,
I
Shohei's
mean,
making 70 mil a year for 10 years.
yeah.
Juan has 15 over 765. So it's not far off, but it's
No,
5
no, it's
years
not.
extend across. So
Right,
that's
yeah.
that
And
is
I
the
think he's
thing.
probably getting that because of his age, and he's also getting it
Yeah,
because of like being able to play more or something
for
like that.
sure.
Yeah. And actually, by the way, I also forgot to. Juan Soto technically does have a ring. He was on that Nationals team that won in
Oh, you're right. You're right.
2019, I think. Yeah. So he does have a ring. So he has some pedigree. I'll give him that.
So then we get down to a question I'd like to ask, which is, are the Mets the dumbest franchise in sports? Because they've done this before, right? Where they
Ooh, yes.
perpetually toss money to guys who come in and it fails, right?
Especially when Steve Cohen bought them 2 years ago, he threw every possible like contract that you can imagine to make that team really good, and it blew up in their face because there is validity to the logic of like you can't just
Yeah.
put the highest amount of money on every single position and have a team come together. You need to be able to build chemistry. You need to be able to build a team that works well together. And part of the reason that the Mets got so hot last year is probably because of the fact that Francisco Lindor had one of the
Yeah.
best second half of the seasons we've seen in a long time. Arguably, if Shohei didn't have the season he did, Lindor should have been MVP.
Yeah.
But that's also but that also goes hand in hand with like it's a learning logic to why you can't always just top payroll every single year and still think you're going to win. That's why like not this past year but the year before when the Diamondbacks and the Rangers went to the World Series, like they were I think middle pack in payroll. Diamondbacks especially were like bottom 5 in that regard. So
Yeah.
there's validity to building a team that just fits well together and has a play style that works together instead of
Yeah.
just spending everything possible. So it's not throwing money at the problem, but I give the Mets credit because of the fact that they are a team that got to an NLCS last year, competed, and now they're adding a very talented player to their lineup to be able to kind of help what they have going with them in Lindor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Soto, Lindor, Marte, Nemo are their highest paid right now, and none of them
Yeah.
come close,
And
really.
Pete Alonso's still a free agent, I think. So
Yeah.
that's another guy that if they decide to resign, that lineup is really well balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would like to see. I mean, Shohei's, I would say, quote unquote, worked out, but it's the Dodgers. So it's kind of unfair to be like, I would like to see one of these large contracts pay out, like work. Like, I don't want to see Philadelphia win anything. So I'm happy that Bryce hasn't gotten one with his large contract and stuff like that. But I would like to see one of
Well,
them like work out.
what's nice, that's a good point. What's interesting about baseball is that it's very rare that those big contracts ever actually work out very well. I think I remember remember when like Albert Pujols got that insane deal with the Angels, and then he just kind of faded into obscurity.
Yeah.
Still like finished his career strong, but just like kind of faded after that.
He was just a guy.
It's really rare that you see contracts that go into your 40s actually go well, because technically you're paying for the premium and then you're kind of suffering for the end of it. You're kind of eating it. It's like you've always talked about the Kobe Bryant contract, where like you're paying him for what he did, and then therefore you're kind of giving him the swan song a little bit for the end of his career.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, to go back to your point about what I've always said about Soto is that he truly is the finest example of potential. He has every single measurable you want for a baseball player. He has every single like advanced statistic that you want for an elite player. But for some reason, there's just nothing about him that like screams face of baseball.
Which is weird.
It's very weird, right? Like off the top of my head, guys I consider like the true faces of baseball, like Shohei, Judge, Lindor, Bryce, Trout if he's ever healthy.
Yeah.
And that's really it off the top of my head. Like I don't put Soto in that conversation. So how much of it is marketing? How much of it is?
Do you think it's a language barrier? Because Shohei had an interesting language barrier where he comes from a place where, like, the translator going with him is very common, and having his translator and stuff like that. So I wonder, but I don't know.
I don't think it's a language barrier necessarily. I mean, I think Shohei proved how charismatic he was because of his generational talent. So I think there's that. Judge benefited from being in New York and having the run that he had, and you saw how charismatic he was. Lindor, when you watch him play, is fun to watch at shortstop. So it's all these characteristics that, like, when you look at Soto, it's kind of like he's just a guy. Yeah. You know, like he's not like
I'm a guy that's really good at baseball.
He's a guy that's really good at baseball, and he's a guy that everyone in baseball tells me is supposed to be really fucking good.
Yeah.
But like I don't get that when I watch him. And it's there. I know it's there, but it's just there's something about him that just like doesn't do it for me. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I guess when I look at Juan Soto, it's like he hits the ball like no one else. He's freak looking athlete. He's the guy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It feels like one of those moves where I'm like, okay, if I saw a Mets World Series, I'd be floored, despite obviously the run they had last year, just because it feels like it's the Mets. So maybe this is the turning point.
No, I mean, like I've seen the Mets come close to winning a World Series a handful of times, especially in the the late 2000s. There was like a run that they actually had. They could have gone a few times, but they got crushed by the Cardinals. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't mind seeing the Mets win a World Series from time to time because I have nothing wrong with that fan base necessarily. But that Mets contract is it's fascinating to see. And did you? I don't know how accurate this is. Yeah. But apparently the deciding point between him and the Yankees, and I believe it was like there was a $5 million difference with it, but it was also apparently Juan Soto wanted a suite for all this stuff, and the Yankees said no.
Well, it wasn't that they said no. He asked for a free suite, and they said no because Derek Jeter and Aaron Judge pay for their suite, and they didn't want the two of them to get jealous.
Okay. Mm. First off, Derek Jeter, I like it. I don't. It doesn't really matter anymore. Like it's not like he goes to every single Yankee game, so that's one thing. But Judge, I can kind of see it, especially because Soto would be making more money than him long term, so that might be a bit of a hassle. But still, that's interesting. If that's true, that was the catalyst for the change. I hope, and I do hope that he did get his sweep with the Mets. I hope he did because that's great pettiness right
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder how teams like, or teams, you mean like players like Judge feel about this type of stuff. Because, I mean, I feel like it would be easy to just give them a sweep.
It would, but I am curious if like the Yankees would have had to like go to Judge and tell them like, hey, we have to do this, or even then though, like why, like that shouldn't even be something that needs to be discussed. You know, it's like it's negotiations.
Yeah.
Like who cares about the other feelings of certain guys? If it's dictated in your contract, it's dictated in your contract. You know, it's like if you're, I don't know, something like if like the Drew Brees situation about how he
Yeah.
wasn't allowed to stand-ams and stuff. It's something like that, like just a workaround or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's interesting. I'm excited to see him play. I don't really watch the Mets much, but I'll see him in the playoffs, is my guess.
Exactly. You'll see them you'll see them in a 3-game series, perhaps in a wild card round, and then that's about it. Like at the most, like there'll be like the number one story on Sports Center if like they're on like a good streak in June or something
Yep.
like that. But it's not that'll be the most you talk about it. Like baseball, people don't start caring about baseball until probably like 4th of July anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get there. Other thing I want to talk to you about before we get into the mock. Did
What's
you
up?
see the guy confronting Brett Favre?
I heard about this. It was it's like it's the guy from the New York Jets, like the guy
Mark
from this
Gastineau.
Mark Gastineau. Yeah, he's like he was known as like there was like I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. I don't have like I wasn't like obviously like well into football in the early 90s and stuff.
Yeah.
I was really young, but like Mark Gastineau was like at one point like looked at as like equal level to like Lawrence Taylor in terms of like pass rushers, if I
Yeah.
remember correct. And he was on the Jets. I know that, and I think it's and I know that they're doing a 30 for 30 for the Jets called the New York Sack Exchange. It's coming out like Friday or something like that. But I saw the video or something, and Gastineau like confronted him about
Yeah.
like ruining his career or something like that.
So
Yeah,
Gastineau, the clips have been dropping. It's called the New York Sack Exchange, and basically
yeah,
it's about him and his career and like how good they were. But like, it's not so much just about the whole unit. It's about him being a bad teammate, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. And he's like, I don't know why I'm in the Hall of Fame. I asked my teammates, and his teammates are like, well, he's kind of a dick. Like he was a bad teammate. They were like, he doesn't care about the team. He only cares about himself. And so he in that video talks a lot about it, but the clip is him going up to Brett Favre. And Gastineau says, I want my sack back. And Favre goes, oh man, you'd hurt me now, like thinking it's a joke. And Gastineau goes, no, Brett, you hurt me. You took a dive. You took my record away. And Brett Favre was like, oh. And then they start replaying footage, dude. Brett Favre in an interview before the game with the Giants, which got Michael Strahan from 21.5 to 22.5, said, if we're in the late parts of the game, he doesn't have it, I will run a play to get it to him. He audibled to a bootleg right. He took a dive. He got Strahan the sack record. And Mark Gastineau is saying that is all Mark Gastineau had in life was the sack record. And Brett Favre went out of his way to make sure Michael Strahan got it. Because without that dive, Michael Strahan does not hold the record.
Michael Strahan is still a Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion. So at least there's that. At least there's that. I give him that. But damn. Well, here's the thing that I find fascinating is like, how horrible of a teammate could Gastineau have been that it's excluding him from the Hall of Fame? You know, like I feel like throughout
he didn't
history,
tackle running backs. He didn't tackle wide receivers. He didn't tackle tight ends. If it wasn't the quarterback, he didn't waste energy.
It's that bad. Wow, I did not know that. Okay,
That's what they say in the doc. So.
Okay, so that's interesting then. That really kind of goes hand in hand with the logic of like, is Hall of Fame worthiness like all stats based? Like, does it have to be?
Tio's?
Because
it took him how long?
It did take him how long? It took Chris Carter like 3 or 4 years to get in the Hall of Fame because of that. So that's fair. But then that leads to the same conversation then. Like, is Gastineau like kind of the case in point example of why stats should not be the reasoning to go into a Hall of Fame in any
Yeah.
sport?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
I don't
interesting.
know. I don't know, man. Like that's tough because like how do you weigh an entire career based on like how nice you were?
Yeah.
You know? That's tough. I can understand it from the logic of if you're paid to do a job, you need
Okay.
to be able to do it to your best abilities and you need to be able to do everything that's asked of you, especially if you're under contract and stuff. But if your contract is going to be dictated based off of like that one number is the sack and how like it enhances like your earning capability, what are you going to essentially focus most of your time and investment on then?
I agree. I think that there is a discussion around making everyone around you better. So I would say somebody like Cam Hayward, who may be on the fence for the first couple years, will 100% be a top 3 year ballot Hall of Famer because he was a Steeler, he was the face,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was, you know what I mean. So I think that it carries more weight than you can think against, and it's a supporting thing. Now, if a guy's like a straight up shit teammate and is undoubtedly the greatest player ever, they'll put him in, but it's about protecting the integrity of the game and protecting the locker room and like all that stuff. No one person is greater than the game of football, is my
Mm-hmm.
assumption as to why they do stuff like that.
Is it like I don't want to say it's like an earning thing, but it's making you. It's
Kind of,
essentially
yeah.
it's kind of like it's punishing you for not being the type of person that deserves to be Hall of Fame
Yep.
worthy. We'll get you in based off of your stats and what you did during the game, but in terms of like, you getting that validation of being a first ballot Hall of Famer, we don't believe you deserve it because of
Yeah.
how you treated everyone. That's tough, especially for the fact that it's writers that are deciding that. In
Yeah.
fairness,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, like if it was your peers, okay, that part I can like make the logic in. But if it's like football writers that are covering it the entire time and they're kind of like the valid point for it, that's a tough argument to make right there.
Agreed.
I can't think of like other guys off the top of my head that would even like qualify for something like that because especially like as time has gone on too, To is technically like nowhere near as like To did not deserve to wait as long as he did.
No, he's the third greatest wide receiver ever, and he's an
Yeah,
unbelievable player.
yeah, and again, I wasn't watching football when Chris Carter was playing, so I have no idea like how much of a head case he was.
Yeah.
I know he played him. I know he like talked himself out of Philly to go to Minnesota and stuff like that. But aside from that, like I don't know if he was a bad person or not, honestly. So like I can't really validate that, and I can't think of many other guys in like other sports that like that should like have that you know that thing where it's like no, we're gonna make you
Yeah.
sweat because of how shitty of a person you were and stuff like that. You know, like that's tough. Like I can't think of anyone in basketball who would fit that category.
Um, no, basketball's tough too because it's like most of the guys who were dicks were such good winners that they like Jordan was a dick, but they chalked it up to just being a winner. And so,
Yeah, exactly. It's different
if
mindsets,
Bill
I guess.
Laimbeer was good at basketball, maybe.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, you could put a lot of the bad boys on that situation.
Yeah, facts. All right, let's get to a mock draft, Greg.
Let's do it. I'm surprised you're about to go through this entire show and you're not even going to bring up the lead story from all of sports media today and your thoughts on it.
What's that one?
The fact that the fact that we are now in a new day and age in college sports, my friend.
The standings?
Hmm?
Like just
Well, yeah,
college playoffs?
yeah, absolutely. I was
Oh, yeah.
pissed off at how the hell does Penn State get the easiest path to the semifinals? It's such
Yeah,
bull.
so what they
I
should have
have to
done
hear that
there.
from Josh for months now
Well,
about
they'll
this
lose.
crap.
It's okay. Which honestly, let's look at the bracket because we can do that first.
I watched SMU. SMU's good. They
Agreed.
legit are.
Agreed.
Yeah. So like, it would make me so happy to see them get run off their own field by SMU.
So unfortunately, what they should do, which here's the sucky part about it, because they, in a vacuum, it makes all the sense in the world to have the conference, the highest ranked conference champion, yada yada yada. Like when you're making it up, sure, it sounds great.
Right.
The way this should happen right now is Oregon should clearly be 1.
Right.
You could put Georgia at 2. You'd put
Mm-hmm.
Texas at 3. You'd probably
Mm-hmm.
put Penn State at 4, and then you'd
Mm-hmm.
get to your Tennessees, your Indianas, your Iowas, because Notre Dame's. There's no reason, and I understand why they're there, but Arizona State and Boise State shouldn't be the 4-3. Out of full respect to their programs and full respect to what we did for the college playoffs, there's
They
no
deserve to be in the
reason.
playoff, though, at least, right?
What's
Like,
that?
do they deserve to be in the playoff,
A
though? Like,
hundred
honestly,
percent.
okay.
But what you should do is, so let's say Boise State was ranked like 15th, but they
Mm-hmm.
won their conference. I still
Right.
believe that the top 5 power conferences should allow the winners in,
Okay.
but they should get reseeded right now. So the seeding, like Boise shouldn't be third just because they were the highest ranked Power 5 conference winner. They
Right.
should be the seed that they were coming in. That way you actually have teams, because Oregon playing Tennessee and Oklahoma State in the first one is just not the same as, Georgia playing Indiana or Notre Dame.
Here's actually something I'd be curious about. I'm okay with them not doing like the top 4 conference champions getting buys. I'm understanding of that. If you reseed them after that and they have to be included, my only caveat is that I think the conference champions deserve home games.
Sure. Sure.
That part I
Sure.
think is the thing, because I think if you win your conference, you should at the very least get a home game against like, I don't know, like off the top of my head. If no, this might be a bad example, but like if Arizona State was another team that got in and stuff, they'd probably be the 12 seed,
Yep.
and they would end up getting Texas. That might be a tough pill to swallow, saying that like Texas has to go on the road as the 5 seed against Arizona State, but that's how I think the logic should be. That they deserve
I
to
mean,
be.
it's a tough pill to swallow that Arizona State gets a bye.
It is. That's fair. Although Arizona State like deserved that.
Preseason ranked the last team, 11-1. They look great.
They look great. They dominated Iowa State in that Big 12 championship game too.
Yeah.
They look good. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how it's gonna go off. Like first off, I'm mad Clemson got in, because now like Davos, when he can like kind of like preach his holier than thou attitude transfer portal, which pisses me off. But like in terms of like all the other games though, like I'm so curious how this goes, because like I mean it's pretty easy to say Ohio State and Tennessee is going to be the best game in the first round.
I think
easily.
so. And that one, I should be just getting to my parents for that one, which will be exciting.
It's gonna be a great game. Indiana Notre Dame is also probably the most fascinating one.
Indiana is my big question mark team this year, dude. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I'm expecting a blowout, but I don't know from what side. Like that sounds really really bad to say, but like I feel like Notre Dame could easily crush them, but I could also see Indiana get hot out of nowhere, just like completely
Both
upset.
are such likely scenarios. Like
Yes,
Indiana could blow them out. Notre Dame could get they're so likely.
I don't see this being a close game at all.
Yeah.
At all. Like that's the part that I'm so fascinated by.
Someone's gonna get knocked out.
Yes, absolutely. But also, I would like to point out as well, based on how that bracket is set up as well.
Yeah.
Oregon is not gonna be able. Oregon's gonna have a hard time getting to the CFP final.
Yeah, my dream scenario is that Texas wins, Tennessee wins. Tennessee and Oregon have a great game where I would like to see Oregon win a natty. So Oregon wins. I would love to see Tennessee win a natty. I think Oregon is the best team in college football. So Oregon wins there. They play Texas because Texas beats Arizona State. Oregon or Texas, one of the two of them goes to the final. Awesome. Other side, Penn State loses to SMU would be awesome, but I think they win that one. And I do think Boise State's a good team, but we'll see what happens there. So maybe Penn State makes the Capital Orange Bowl. Indiana, Notre Dame, I think Indiana wins. Georgia dog walks Indiana. Georgia dog walks Penn State. And we have a Georgia, Oregon, or Georgia, Texas championship, which Georgia, Texas would be sick.
What, for a third time? Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be, yeah, because Georgia's beat them 2 times already. So I'd be curious to see Texas get over the hump. But I mean, Oregon and Georgia, I think, is the one that everyone wants. It'll probably be the best game too. And it's one of those situations too where these are these are clearly the two best teams in college football. So like we'll
Agreed.
get like a national championship, I think, to for better terms. But we'll see, man. Like there's something about I love how this is set up for the first year. I think it's a good experiment, and I think they're going to tweak it moving forward. But I like how this has kind of gone
Agreed.
so far. I
Yeah.
love the fact that no 9-3 team outside of Clemson got it. I'm
Yeah,
very
I
happy.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. I think that was a good call out, Greg. Well done. Do you want to go first or second?
Ooh, I'll go second. I'll let you go first since you're sick.
All right, we got the Raiders, the Giants, the Patriots, the Panthers, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, is this one updated? Are any of the other ones more updated? I think this is fine.
We're using PFN or
NFL mock draft
Okay.
database, which
Got it.
oh, that is the NFL, so that makes, or that is the NBA, which makes. Well, I'm on Tankathon, just making sure the order. Okay, this is the updated order. All right, Vegas Raiders. Yeah, this one is super easy. I will go Shador. I think that is the. If that happens, I think everyone would say, yeah, of course that happened.
Yeah, he wants to go there too, which I think that's a perfect situation. And I also hope Antonio Pierce comes back too. I think he's a good. I think they have something there that they just need a quarterback.
I don't agree. I think he's a good story. I think he's a locker room guy. I think there has not really been anything that has happened that has made me gone, oh wow, they're awesome. Max Crosby's a good player, and that's pretty much it.
Brock Bowers is awesome.
Yeah, Brock Bowers is awesome. I don't see like there's nothing watching them that like brings me any sort of excitement or hope in terms of the coaching, and I think he's an awesome dude, and I hope that I'm wrong, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think Shador no matter what.
Okay.
You're up for the Giants.
I don't trust many. I don't really want to take a quarterback here because it's just it's a mess in general. So I'm going to take the best player in this class. I'm going to go Travis Hunter.
Wow.
I think he just fits. I think he's exactly the type of like athlete that New York is probably looking for. And here's something that I was curious about that I wanted to get your quick take on and stuff. How do you look at Travis Hunter fantasy wise?
If I am an NFL owner, I am playing Travis Hunter as my wide receiver 1 and my cornerback 3. So I like him in fantasy. I don't know if I like him in fantasy more than like the running backs in this class or T-Mac or somebody, but I'm very interested in Travis Hunter. I think he's a great player.
That's the part that's confusing me because like I think he's a better corner than receiver, but if you're drafting him like early, I find it hard to believe you're going to take him with the mindset that you're going to play him exclusively at corner. So, like, I'm kind of with you.
I think you're doubting you're playing him. I hope he plays both. I see what you're saying, and for me, it's easier to be a wide receiver than it is to be a cornerback in the NFL. And it's easier for me to say, hey, he's our slot corner, and we have the best slot corner in the NFL, and he only comes in on certain downs. He's our number 1 wide receiver, and switch it up.
So like you have him play like in nickel situations and stuff like that, but you're not having him like be like a
not every down.
Okay, fair.
You just can't do that in the pros. Maybe he can. I hope I'm wrong.
It's fair.
All right, I'm up for the Patriots. Tough one because they really only need 2 things in this class, and there are so many good wide receivers late that I'm not going to kill myself there. So I'm going to go with the guy that I think disappointed this year a ton, but is a tackle because their line's terrible, and that's Kelvin Banks.
Yeah, that's been kind of the story about him this year is that he just hasn't like lived up to it. But I think this tackle class I think he'll test well.
Yeah, probably. Patriots they need wide receivers, they need tackles. Obviously, T-Mac is the guy that I like there, but the gap from T-Mac to who they can get in the second is so much closer than the tackle situation.
That's bad.
You're up for the Panthers, who have a quarterback.
They do have a quarterback. I think, did you see the thing, by the way, that the first time in 2 years, they're actually favored in a game this weekend against the Cowboys? I know. It's wild to me. I kind of want to go O-line here, but, like, but I do think that there's some depth there that they could probably be able to help out with. So I'm gonna go because Bryce Young desperately needs playmakers. So I'm gonna go T Mac.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I think because like I off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you aside from their running back group like who they're probably. Well, Xavier Legette's good. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah, but
but
I
I
know what
think,
you're
but I
saying.
think, I think, I think, I think Bryce Young just like really needs a good core of receivers to work with to make that offense at least somewhat dangerous to plan out with. So I'm gonna give him a nice big old body receiver to play around with, and then him and Leggett will be foundation for him for years.
Not bad. I'm up for Jacksonville. They obviously have T-Law on a huge deal. Um, I think the story of this class, Greg, is going to be the injured guys. Will Johnson, injured,
Mm-hmm.
top cornerback in the class. Um, Josh Simmons, injured, top tackle in the class. Like, there's a lot of guys. There's another corner, too. Siobhan Ravel, yeah, injured, top corner. So it's interesting. Jacksonville needs a corner. Would I be concerned about Will Johnson being hurt, injured? No, not necessarily. Um, but I do think there is a gap between this guy and the corner position, and that's Mason Graham. Um,
Yep.
he was a true freshman playing at 18 at Michigan. He's a freak of nature, can play all across the line. And I think Jacksonville needs to hit. They just absolutely need to hit. So he's a safe pick.
He is. He's a very safe pick, and I saw the tape that I think was like the main highlight for him because I saw who's on the I saw Field Yates's reveal his top board,
Yeah.
and he like highlighted Mason Graham's tape against Ohio State, and I watched it,
It's
and
so
it's
good.
it's impressive, very impressive. He doesn't look like he's physically gifted, but man, is he so
Yes,
good.
yeah.
What? Oh, so yeah, that'd be a fun pick.
You were up for the Titans.
O-line I feel like is a safe route for them as well. Just to add more to it, but but like the way the board's falling, I want to give them Will Johnson. I think they need playmakers on that defense and stuff because I don't look at it as a situation that necessarily scares teams at all per se. So I think adding a corner that like is just so physically sound and gifted, I think is a great option for them to go with. And I think that's a perfect fit for them.
Yeah, they've surprisingly had one of the NFL's top passing defenses for some weird reason this year. I don't know if it's the Linarius or Sneed, what it added to it, but I think Johnson, you put him in there and you upgrade a unit that's good, and that's the Titans have always tried to plug in on the units that are not good. I think maybe it's time that they just look at the units that are good and double down on them. So I don't hate that at all.
Right. Why not? I also consider Genty here, honestly, which like because
Wow.
I think like I considered it, but like I'm kind of like I think
No
they
way.
have. Nah, I think they're fine with Pollard and like whatever else they try to figure out with their running situation.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I just the Pollard deal is what I'd be looking at. Interesting. All right, I got up for the Jets. I respectfully can't let this guy fall anymore. He's arguably quarterback one in the class. That's Cam Ward.
Okay.
Rogers is old as fuck.
I like the new era of college quarterbacks that are now going to start to get drafted higher. I like the fact that we're getting guys that have stayed in college longer and have like really kind of mastered their craft and kind of really like gotten like a lot of their tweaks out, and now they're going to get drafted in a better situation. We thought that, and that's actually going to make NFL teams probably better quicker because they don't have to sit guys as long.
Dude, I'm switching. I used to be like, get out of college, go make your money. Now that NIL is so big, I think college quarterbacks should stay as long as they can in college, because once you get to the pros, there's no more runway. You're in there. So like Quinn, I don't think Quinn Ewers should be Texas' quarterback because Archie's great, but Quinn went back, Dart went back, Neusmeyer went back, Milrow went back. I wouldn't be floored.
Yeah. By the way, did you see the thing? I saw this on Twitter the other day. It's like a side by side of like Trevor Lawrence and Cam Rising, like, and how they were both entered college at the same time, and how like Cam Rising like and Trevor Lawrence are the exact same age, but Trevor Lawrence already made his money and Cam Rising is trying to go back for another year of college. Fucking incredible.
Oh, that's so funny. You're up for the Browns.
Ooh, oh man, I believe I think they're gonna retain Jameis.
I hope he's the quarterback moving forward.
He's so goofy that he's just perfect for Cleveland in a weird way. Um, I'm going to. This might be a slight reach, but based on talent, I think he'll test very well, and I'm gonna go with your boy James Pierce here.
Hmm. Yeah. If they need edge, he's
Especially
a great guy.
after they traded to Darius Smith, I think that they want to get another pass rusher with Myles Garrett. So I think that's probably the play for them. And I think they have like decent weapons everywhere else necessarily to work with. And I wouldn't draft a linebacker this high yet. So I'm gonna go with James Pierce here.
I love James Pierce. I think he's much more of a potential than what he's done. I would say that Abdul Carter is probably my top edge right
That's
now.
fair. That's fair.
But I think Pierce and him are two different players, so I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, I think Pierce came in with the higher ceiling, and Abdul Carter had the better production. But I think Pierce will test well enough that I think he'll probably get some more looks compared to Carter, perhaps.
Yeah. This one is somewhat easy. I'll get the other tackle. That's kind of the top guy in this class, Will Campbell for the Bears.
Oh, that's plug and play right there
Yeah,
too.
they need help.
Him and Darnell Wright. That's exactly what they need there. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
You got the Saints.
Mm. You consider Genty here, so they can stop the Alvin Kamara like clock, perhaps. Quarterback. No, you know what? Let's have some fun here. Let's give him the best safety in the class. Give me Malachi Stark for fun. I love Malachi Starks, and I think he'll be very good as like a center field type safety in the NFL. So I think he would fit very nicely for the Saints.
I got the Bengals, and I contemplated Genty here, but I thought Chase would be good enough, so I'll take Abdul Carter, my top edge in the class, and hopefully give Joe Burrow a reason. Yeah.
Him and Hendrickson will be good together. I like that a lot.
You got the Cowboys.
Oh, this is easy. Ashton Genty right here. My God, do they need a running game in the worst way possible? They should also consider offensive line too in the worst way, but man, that running game has just done nothing for them, and I think that's something that they've desperately needed for this offense.
Where do you have him ranked in terms of some of the better prospects at running back we've seen over the last 10 years or so?
Ooh. In terms of talent, that's tough. Like, I mean, Saquon is probably is easily the best one I can recall.
Zeke, Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, those guys. Yeah, I think that Bijan Barkley, Zeke, McCaffrey, Fournette are kind of the guys that I always think about as high. And I honestly, like, full respect to what Genty's doing at college, I definitely have Saquon. I have Zeke. I probably have Fournette, McCaffrey ahead of him, and that might be it. Like, Bijan, I know, had crazy hype as well. It's more to ask because I don't think Genty's getting any hype for the college level. He's only getting his hype for the potential Heisman. No one's talking about him at the next level, which is interesting.
No, and I think it's because also we're very wary naturally about drafting running back so early in any situation also. And I think there's also like a part of it about, is Genty that talented, or is it just the offense that he's in that he's utilized so much? Is that and I think what's good about the college football playoff is the fact that Boise State's now going to be on a national level. Now more people are going to see if Genty's really that good, or if it's the O-line doing it for him. So that's going to go a long way to like change that perception, which is crazy because I would point out here too, like if we did not have a two-way player, like just show how talented he is, Genty should be the Heisman winner.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so that says a lot about how good of a season he's had. The fact that he's like, in that consideration, but it's just the fact that like he's literally going against a unicorn in terms of, so we'll see.
I got the Dolphins. They're an interesting one because They have safety, tackle, wide receiver as kind of their big ones here, and I really don't know what they need because I feel like they're pretty solid at everything, but they just can never get over that hump.
Well,
But
how much is also based on the fact too that like Tua was hurt for like 4 games this year,
yeah,
so like
agreed.
if he was healthy, like they'd be, and I think they still are competing for a playoff spot technically, but like
Oh, they're in the
probably
hunt.
be in
Yeah,
that they'd probably be in that 6-7 seed right now if he was healthy. So like this is a good team.
yeah. I think for the sake of conversation, I'll go with Ariante Ursary to tackle out of Minnesota. Just give him some
Ooh,
line
okay,
help.
okay. I like that. I feel like offensive line also is just like an easy play for them
So
because
easy.
like yeah, because like because also they use a running system just like San Francisco does, which is they need offensive linemen to work with and also protection for Tua. It's simple.
You're up for the Colts.
Malachi Starks would have been fun here. Shouldn't have picked that. Uh, uh, I'm also gonna add O line here. I'm gonna go with oh fuck, who's the other LSU tackle? I know you took Will Campbell. I can't remember who the right tackle
Yeah,
is,
it's
but
they have him down at 52 now. Emory Jones Jr.
I'll
They,
take Emory Jones here. Why not? Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think he's in that same situation where like the tackles are going to test well during this combine stuff. So like, well, he'll get some late love as well.
I've seen a lot of tape on him that I've kind of liked. For the Falcons, I'll take edge Nick Scorton. They have a lot of sack issues still, and I think Scorton actually has been turning the table on me
I
liking.
have not watched much tape on him actually, so I am curious to like see how good he was because I also have seen some good things about Shamar Stewart, the guy from A&M as well on
Yeah,
this line.
yeah, they both have been rising upwards. So, you got the
Okay.
Cardinals.
I feel like the Cardinals are also an easy defensive play as well because they just like and for the record, I'm also going to point out here, I can't figure out if the Cardinals are that good or if they're just like lucky.
Yeah,
So like I can't quite figure out what to make of them. But just because I brought them up already, like, and I have not known a good defensive line player on the Cardinals since Chandler Jones. I'll
yeah.
put Shamar here. Why not?
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been
yeah. I'll
rising
go Shamar
upwards.
here. Yeah, they need defensive line up in the worst way, and also like Jonathan Gannon like also is like someone that prides himself on defense too, which is something that which should be his bread and butter there.
Yeah, I got the Niners next.
Weird seeing them draft this high.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if I like it. They have a lot of stuff going on here. Since they technically don't need it now, and I feel like they're still an impressive team, this is where I'm going to go with Josh Simmons. Probably won't be ready to start the year. Had a big injury at Ohio State, but I do think he is the best tackle in this class if he comes back the same human he went down as. So they have a little time that they can kill without him, but I think he's a great piece to pair with Trent for the rest of his time.
The Niners could be the team I see going for a developmental quarterback in the first round. Perhaps.
Why?
I think they're going to give Purdy the money, and I think they. First of all, I mean, like, I think they got lucky drafting him in the 7th round to have him fit the offensive scheme that they work well with. But I also think the Niners are a team that has no problem with thinking long term with their draft picks in terms of value and making sure that they have the next one ready. And also, I think they recognize that there's not a lot of quarterback play that's ready right now to compete.
I would disagree because if you're going to pay Brock Purdy, then you need to do everything you can to make sure he's winning. And they have a lot of pieces needed. Plus, Brock's still young. You're assuming he's your quarterback of the future. And no matter how much you pay Brock Purdy, he's already been cheap.
That's true. But I mean, I would also like say too that like the reason the Niners haven't had a good season is because of the amount of injuries they've had this year to work with. So like I think that'll be rectified like with a full healthy training camp, perhaps in a full season of Christian McCaffrey when I don't draft him in 4 fantasy leagues. Still.
You got the Rams.
This one's weird. No, you know what? I'm gonna give him my boy, Siobhan Ravel.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna put him with the Rams. Yeah, I think they've done a good job like getting their front seven somewhat reorganized after losing Donald, but I think the
Agreed.
secondary is the next area they need to really start investing into.
Yeah.
I love that guy. So I'm gonna give him Siobhan Ravel.
I'm interested where he goes.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how healthy he will be by draft day too, because if he tests, because he tore his ACL, I think in September. So like, I don't know if he'll be able to test at the combine, but he should be able to at least do interviews. So.
Yeah. I got the Bucks. This one's easy. Mikael Williams out of Georgia, the edge, top 10 player in the class, and I think he continues to fall. So just take him there, be happy.
I wonder if it's Georgia bias because of the defense, or if it's something else too. Because like he's not necessarily like the prototypical like Georgia based like defensive player that like I think we swoon over or anything like that.
You got the Commanders.
You're gonna hate this one, but I think no. You know what? Actually, I was gonna go a different route, but instead I'll go this route. Give me Colston Loveland.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Yeah. Just I was thinking of one player, but instead I was kind of like, wait, we can go with the best tight end here, which is probably like a best friend for any young developing quarterback whatsoever. And I think he's talented enough that he would fit right into that Commanders offense. That would be a great safety blanket for them. And I think too, like, I think the Commanders like are probably, I think they'll probably make a run at winning a division next year. So why not?
You think that he's the best tight end?
In the class,
yeah.
It's him or Warren, and I think me and you have had this conversation before about how like Warren is kind of like, we don't know if he's a tight end truly because he's kind of like that.
Yeah.
He's like because like Penn State just uses him in so many different ways and so many different formations. That's kind of like we don't know if he's a true tight end or if he's just an undersized receiver.
Yeah.
So I think Loveland is probably Loveland based on measurables and based on history. I think he is the best tight end in this class.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yes. I mean, that makes it easy because for the Chargers, I'm going to go Tyler Warren because that exact reason. They don't really have a true running back. They don't really have a ton of receivers. They don't have a tight end. They need a weapon, and I would love to see Harbaugh use him correctly.
Oh, I think Tyler Warren with Jim Harbaugh would be a very fun situation because he would do some goofy shit with them.
Agreed.
He absolutely would.
You got the Denver Broncos.
Running back situation is not the best either. There's not really any good linebackers in this class I'd consider. Well, actually, you know what? No, never mind. I'll go Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put him on that defense to add some more athleticism there. Why not? And I will give them credit too. Like that Bronco defense is very well sound in how they play. There's not necessarily a guy on that team that you can point to.
I would point to Patrick Surtain II.
That's fair.
But I understand what you're saying. They have a lot of just good players aside from him.
Right. So yeah, let's add some Georgia Let's add some Georgia blood to that.
Seattle Seahawks.
Another very underappreciated defense, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'd give you that. I think this is dude. I've been calling for it for fucking 7 years. I feel like this is the year they draft a quarterback. I think they take Jalen Milroe, place him behind Geno. They have their quarterback of the future. He can sit for a full year. If the kid comes out, play in Seattle, be a read option type guy, and be a really good quarterback there.
I think Jalen Milroe would succeed in Seattle. That's for sure. I give him that.
Yeah.
And by the time he's ready to play, he'll have he'll have two very good running backs to work with.
Yep.
He's got a very
good.
Yeah, he'll have a Jackson with the Jigba. Metcalf will probably be gone by then. And then I think they have an O-line that's like slowly building up a little bit. So I think he'll have a lot to work with. So that's a good one.
You got the Ravens.
Oh, who's the best Alabama player on the board after Jalen Milroe? That's usually the route they go.
Let's see. The next is Tyler Booker, interior offensive lineman, which is something they need.
It is something they need. What happened to? I thought there was they had an outside linebacker, Lawson. No, he's fallen down the boards actually.
There's
No, you know
Jadeed
what?
Campbell, and then there's LT Overton.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Let's go Tyler Booker because that is something that I think that they desperately need is offensive guard help in that class. Which this is also a weak guard class.
Yeah, I really do like Jonah Saavaina, I think is what it's called. There's no one else
Oh
I'm
yeah,
really in
yeah.
love with.
I thought he was more of a tackle though.
I've
Like
seen him listed as IOL. I'm sure he's been a tackle for Arizona. I think he has smaller measurables. We can look into that though.
yeah.
I got the Texans. The Texans. They're interesting because I feel like they don't need much, but they still need a lot. But luckily, Kenneth Grant is right here, the other Michigan defensive lineman. Just get him some help up front.
They've underachieved this year, but I mean, how much of that is probably based on the fact that like they lost like their top 2 playmakers in the middle of the season? So, and their defense is also actually, it's multiple reasons because their O line is horrible in pass protection, which is what their basic offense is, and their defense hasn't really hasn't been as dominant as you expect from them. So,
yeah, I'd agree. Go Pack Go.
Ugh. I feel like they also need O-line help in the worst way too.
It's fairly down their list on their team needs here, which is surprising.
That is surprising. Yeah, I'm gonna add O-line to. I'm gonna add O-line to this class. I think, and I can't imagine off the top of my head. Like, is probably the next best one. Is it Ernest Green from Georgia?
Tackle.
Yeah, or is he like further?
No,
Wait.
Williams out of Texas.
You know what? Give me the Arizona guy, the Saliavia. Yeah,
Jonah Saavaina.
Yeah, I swear he's a tackle. I thought Field Yates actually had him as a tackle because he's like 6'6" or something like that. Maybe he does have maybe he's got like the T-Rex arm syndrome or something for like tackles or some shit. Yeah, he has the Peter Skoronski stigma, perhaps.
Oh, maybe. Let's see. I spelled his name so wrong that they can't even help me.
It's impressively hard to spell. I will give him that.
Yeah, most of the things have him as a tackle. I wonder why they have his interior. He could probably play both.
Oh, for sure. They'll probably swing him around and stuff like that, but yeah.
Cool. That leaves me with the Steelers.
What you got?
Well, there's 2 guys here I didn't expect to be here.
Okay.
But I think if I'm the Steelers, I like the depth at this position. But only one of these guys was considered the number 1 in their class, and that is Luther Burden, wide receiver, Missouri.
Oh, I'm so happy.
That would be awesome.
I'm so happy.
It's between him and Benjamin Morrison for me.
Yes. We watched tape on this, by the way. And I am going to point out here, too, that Luther Burden, I think, from a route running perspective, is very, very good. And I think that's something that's a type of element to that offense they desperately need as well.
A technician.
He'd be a great fit for them. Yes, all about that.
You got the Minnesota Vikings.
Bro, you fucking killed that Pedialyte, by the way.
Gone. I needed to.
That's impressive.
I gotta go pick up a nasal spray from Catherine's apartment after this because I'm the pressure.
Yeah, I don't actually. I was gonna tell you about something I use, but I don't think that will work because it's for allergies. But another guy that we both like as well, Benjamin Morrison, I think is definitely something for Minnesota.
Desperately need.
Minnesota
Awesome addition to them.
Minnesota's another defense that no one talks about. Their pass rush is very, very good, but their secondary, I think, is not as strong as it should be. Yeah. And I couldn't tell you who the starting corners are for Minnesota actually off the top of my head right now. I know Harrison Smith is still there, but aside from that, that's about it for their secondary.
Now I gotta look.
You don't have to look.
No, because I want to say one is the bum ass Jeff Okuda, but let's see.
I thought he was hurt.
Stephon Gilmore, Shaquille Griffin, Fabian Monroe. That's pretty much it. Mickey Blackman,
Okay.
Byron Murphy Jr.
Ah, okay. Byron Murphy still got it. Stephon Gilmore, I'm impressed that he's still in the league this long. That's another guy. That's another guy who's going to be a Hall of Fame.
I don't really like the edges left here for Buffalo, so I'm going to keep going on my train of wide receivers and take Emeka Egbuka for the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh, do you think he does get first round?
He gets first round chatter for sure. Him and Isaiah Bond will be interesting. A lot of people will have the Chiefs taking them, is my guess, like late round guys. I can't say that I'd be surprised if they were taken in the first round, just because receivers tend to be the group that we know the least about. Like teams take guys. I mean, Xavier Worthy this past year and things like that. So Keon Coleman for one. So
yeah, but it's funny though, because like at this point last year we were probably thinking like around that time, like, or actually not this time, but like beginning of last year we kept saying, oh man, this after Marvin Harrison, this is a weak receiver class and all that stuff, and then everyone was talking about like Romadunze, Xavier Worthy, and all these guys, and it's like, whoa, it exploded really fucking quick. So it's almost like on time when you know that when the combine comes around and stuff, there's gonna be receivers that come up out of nowhere that you're just like, oh fuck, like you gotta like pay attention to them and watch their tapes.
Yeah, you got the Eagles.
Well, I know I'm not gonna deal with O-line. D-line they're pretty solid in. I love what they did with their secondary. You know what? Just for the hell of it, I'll go Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, I was going to say that makes the most sense to me, because if anything happens with this A.J. Brown smoke, that would make a lot of sense for him.
And I don't fully trust Isaiah Bond as like a
number one.
Like as a one.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to watch, like, maybe I need to do more tape on him, or maybe I need to see his combine thing, but like something about him just like it doesn't like. I'm not getting Quentin Johnson vibes from him or anything like that, but like something about him just like I don't know if he has like that number one in him. But then again, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, like I don't think you need to be a one. Perhaps we'll see.
No, and then last boring, I'm gonna go Cameron Williams, tackle out of Texas.
Oh, for who the Lions? Oh, the Chiefs. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
The last one for me. Sorry. Yeah. You got the Lions up next. The last one for me was Kansas City, Connor Williams. You have the Lions, Dad.
Okay, I have the Lions. This is another guy that's probably going to get some like helium near the end because of his pedigree. LT Overton from Bama.
Yeah.
He's a very.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I do too. He's higher on PFF's stuff, which I don't know what that says much, but like I also think too, like Bama didn't necessarily have like the most elite defense this year, so I don't think he's gonna get as much like notoriety, but I do think he's gonna probably test well as well.
I assume so. Cool. Well, Greg, I have to go get some pressure medication because my head is fucking pounding, but I wanted to be sure to do a show because this is probably our last one for the year.
It is the end to a glorious 2024, and I'll see you before the end of the year.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
But I'll see you on this interaction in January of 2025.
Jesus Christ, in 2025.
Yeah, I don't know if 2025. Fuck, we're old.
Yep, graduated college over 10 years ago.
Don't.
Old
God,
fuck.
no, I'm worth it.
All right.
12 years ago, asshole.
We'll see you guys next year.
Bye.